Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi amma ba'd. So, the first disclaimer I want to make is this, that I'm not coming up with my presentation in today's stream or tonight's stream, wherever you're watching from. The reason is that, to be honest, after I put everything together, so I pretty much changed my mind. I I just thought that, look, there are many issues, because as you know, the topic is that what are those 10 most frequently asked questions coming from the Ahmadiyya side, be it the Murabbis, be it the researching or doubting Ahmadis, or be it those people who are interested in this topic. So, to be honest, those 10 questions are pretty much, alhamdulillah, on our fingertips now. But when I was putting those things together in order to answer those frequently asked questions, I just realized, I said, look, we need to actually discuss some other aspects of this issue. And if those aspects are ignored, then these questions will keep coming back, keep coming back. For example, I give you example first. There are many holes in the narrative itself. And if this aspect goes without being challenged, there will be, I would say that that will not do the justice with the topic. For example, I give you example as well, that what I mean by holes in the narrative. So when I'm saying in the narrative, I mean that the death of the quote unquote death of Isa narrative of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadyani, it has many holes at many different levels. For example, please think about this. In one, or in actually in multiple places, Mirza Ghulam Qadyani, when he started to put his case forward, i.e., that Isa alayhi salam has actually passed away, and that was, if you know, from end of 1890 onwards. And don't forget that Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadyani is starting his career, at least at the public scene, from 1879, because that is when he started to publish those public announcements that I have produced a book which is unprecedented, and this book is going to make a case for Islam in such a rigorous manner that anyone as a non-Muslim who will read this book, this person would have no other choice but to accept Islam. And then he says that, look, but I need money. I need money in order to publish this book, so give me money. So this is from 1879. And this narrative, the Isa alayhi salam has passed away, and now I am the one who came in his place, or in his similitude, or in his likeness, Masil. This is from end of 1890 onwards. But there are, you can say, many indications that Mirza Ghulam Qadyani had this plan already in his mind when he is starting his career. And he's playing his cards in a very cunning way. With all due respect to the emotions of common Ahmadis, look, I'm not here to hurt anyone's emotions. Inshallah, whatever I'm saying, it's my obligation to back that up with the evidence. So it had already been planned, but the plan was to go in a gradual manner. So anyhow, long story short, when Mirza Ghulam Qadyani puts his case forward regarding death of Isa alayhi salam, and he or him being the coming Messiah or the latter day Messiah, so at that time he says something very strange. And this is one example of holes in the narrative. He says that, look, there are 30 verses in the Quran, and these 30 verses, amongst them, there are 3 verses which are qat'i. Qat'i qat'yu dalala, because all of the ayat of the Quran are qat'yu subut in terms of their them being established from Allah. They are all qat'i, but when it comes to, by the way, qat'i mean certain. So he says that there are 3 verses. He said there are overall 30 verses in the Quran, but amongst those 30 verses, 3 of them are qat'yu dalala, i.e., they only have one meaning, one interpretation, one tafsir, and that is Isa has died, alayhi salam. Now, at the same time, Mirza Ghulam Qadyani knew this, that look, how people gonna digest all of that. Why? Because it's been 1300 years of Islamic scholarship, and amongst them are those people whom Mirza Ghulam Qadyani and his Jamaat, his community, they recognize them as Mujaddideen, as the revivers, the extraordinary scholars who came in every century and they revived the teachings of Islam, and they were special. Okay, they were very special because they were not just, because Mirza Ghulam Qadyani always distinguishes. It says that, please confirm if my voice is breaking so I can see what could be the issue. Please
So,
tell me.
your voice is good, but your video is getting stuck. Maybe there's an internet issue or something. But your voice is good. If you want to continue like that, your voice is good.
Okay. I'm not sure that what could be the reason, because apparently it, okay, it says no,
Okay.
it's good.
Yes. So yeah. So for Umar and I, it was breaking a little bit,
Actually,
but
let me open it from my mobile as well, just to watch and just to keep an eye for a second.
yes, inshallah. So it's not that it's completely bad. It is just that you get stuck for a couple of seconds when you're talking.
Okay, now I have this in front of me, so I will keep an eye so I have turned the volume off. I just want to keep an eye on the video.
Mm.
Okay.
Jazakallah.
Wayak. Jazakallah, Brother Ahmad and Brother Umar, to give me this feedback, because sometimes when you are talking and apparently at the panel you cannot see these things, but when it's being broadcasted, other people can obviously, see that. So anyhow, let's come back what I was saying. Yeah. So I was saying that now at Mirza Ghulam Qadyani is telling people that there are 30 verses in the Quran regarding the death of Isa alayhi salam, and amongst them 3 of them are so certain that they only have one tafsir or one interpretation, that Isa alayhi salam has died. But at the same time, he knew that in the 13th centuries, there have been great scholars. Amongst them are Mujaddideen, or the revivers, or the great scholars who are not just like ordinary scholars, rather, they were special. They were receiving some special knowledge from Allah, according to Mirza Ghulam Qadyani. So, because he always distinguishes between a Mujaddid and an ordinary scholar, and he has basically selected a few of them as the ordinary scholar or the mujaddid. Anyhow, now listen this point very carefully. In the 13 centuries up till Mirza Ghulam Qadyani, there is not a single mujaddid, not a single extraordinary scholar or a reviver of Islam acknowledged by Mirza Ghulam Qadyani who ever said that Isa alayhi salam has passed away and somebody else will come in his likeness from this ummah. Because you always need to understand, this is the complete position of Mirza Ghulam Qadyani from 1890 onwards, that Isa alayhi salam has passed away and somebody else from this ummah is going to come in the likeness of Isa as a fulfillment of all of those prophecies with regard to coming of Isa alayhi salam. Now, please think about this. If there are 30 verses in the Quran, and amongst those 30 verses, 3 of them are only having one interpretation, that Isa has passed away, and none of those scholars is mentioning that. None, not a single. Now, the few names Mirza Ghulam Qadyani then end up mentioning in his later works, all of them are allegations. For example, in the entire Sahih al-Bukhari, I give you a simple example of famous scholar. In the entire Sahih al-Bukhari, i.e. the compilation of ahadith from Imam al-Bukhari, rahimahullah, there is not a single statement from him in which he is saying that Isa alayhi salam has passed away. Not a single statement. Because there is one thing that Imam Bukhari is making a statement, but there's a different thing that somebody says, oh, Imam Bukhari has brought these ahadith, and from these ahadith, this is my understanding. These two things are completely separate. For example, Imam al-Bukhari, in his Sahih al-Bukhari, when he brings ahadith, he gives them chapters. In Arabic, we call them abwab in plural or bab in singular. So he would give a title or a chapter name and then he would bring the ahadith. For example, Imam al-Bukhari has a chapter, for example, Bab Nazul Isa ibn Maryam, that the chapter of descending of Isa ibn Maryam. And in that chapter, please think about this. If Imam Bukhari's understanding was that Isa ibn Maryam, the one who was actually biological son of Maryam, he has passed away. Now, don't you think that it was his responsibility to state, because Imam Bukhari was not just bringing ahadith, he would bring ayat first, and then he would bring the ahadith, and then he would draw conclusion. He would give you his understanding, his faham as well. This is the beauty of Sahih al-Bukhari. But in none of the chapters regarding Isa alayhi salam, you can find a single sentence, a single statement coming from Imam al-Bukhari saying that Isa alayhi salam has passed away. And in this ahadith regarding coming of Isa ibn Maryam, it is meant that somebody from this ummah will come in his likeness. Not a single statement. So I just gave you this one example, that there is not a single scholar which Mirza Ghulam Qadyani can quote to back up his position, because none of them sided with him. So when he was quoting these names or dropping these names, he was just lying on them. I gave you the simple example of Imam al-Bukhari. Now, please understand what I'm saying right now, holes in the narrative. So the first hole in the narrative is, there are 30, according to Mirza Ghulam Qadyani, there are 30 verses in the Quran, and 3 of them are so clear that only have one interpretation, Isa has passed away, and none of these scholars is mentioning that. From the first 3 centuries of Islam, just imagine, from the first 3 centuries of Islam, bring 3 centuries is a lot of time. Or you can say that from the, let's even make it in the light of hadith, for example, from the 3 best generations of Islam, because the hadith says khairul quruni karni summa allazina yalunahum, that the best time or the best generation is my generation, and then those who will come after them and those who will come after them. So some scholars, they say it is up to the time of the students of companions, and some say that it is up till the time of student of the students of companions. But even if you go for students of companions or disciples, you cannot find a single one of them saying what Mirza Ghulam Qadir. And what was that? Look, if you are going to forget this statement, you might miss the whole thing. That Isa alayhi salam has passed away, and somebody else from this ummah will come in the likeness of Isa alayhi salam to fulfill all of those prophecies of coming of Isa ibn Maryam. This position, zero. Absolutely zero. From the earliest, best times, best generation, zero evidence. So this is first problem. That if there are 30 verses, how they were hidden? None of them is saying that. Clear? Now, another whole, by the way, I'm giving you the reasons that why we need to look at the whole issue from a different angle, and we need to look at these holes first. Another hole in the narrative, just an example. Inshallah, I'm going to give you all of these things, and that's why I'm giving you the reason that why at the 11th hour I changed my mind, and instead of just discussing those 10 frequently asked questions, I decided to give actually this side of the story of Mirza Ghulam Qadyani first. So now, another hole in the narrative. Look at this one. Mirza Ghulam Qadyani says that before, please pay attention, that before Mirza Ghulam Qadyani, there is not a single scholar, not a single scholar, not a single scholar, not a single Muslim alim who knew that Isa alayhi salam has passed away, and now somebody else from this ummah will come in the likeness of Isa. Not a single. He said nobody knew this. Hang on a second. Let's take a pause here. Mirza Ghulam Qadyani is telling us that this is in the 30 verses in the, and by the way, he went to the extent of saying dozens of times, not once, not twice, not thrice, dozens of times. He said that it was a secret. What was secret? That Isa has passed away, and somebody from this ummah, from this nation, from the Muslims, will come in the likeness of Isa alayhi salam. He said this was a secret, absolutely hidden from the eyes of the entire mankind until my time came, and then God revealed this secret to me, and now I am the one telling you that Isa has passed away. Take a pause here. In one, he's telling us, in one, you can say, stance, he's telling us that there are 30 verses in the Quran. And he's telling us that Imam Malik, Imam Bukhari, Ibn al-Qayyim, Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Hazm, and you name it. To the extent, Mirza Ghulam Qadyani said that after the time of Sahaba, please pay attention. He said after the time of Sahaba, there is not a single Imam or a great scholar who ever said that Isa has not passed away. I.e., he's telling us that everybody said after Sahaba, he said everybody said Isa has passed away. Hang on a second. You are telling us it was a secret and nobody knew this. And you are the only chosen one God has revealed this secret knowledge to. But what about the previous thing you said, that there are 30 verses, the ijma of the Sahaba, i.e., look at this one. He said there are 30 verses in the Quran on the Isa has died. It is consensus of the Sahaba, Isa has died. All the great scholars, including the 4 Imams, every reference is my responsibility. Right now, I'm just giving you the concept itself. He said not a single one of the 4 Imams or any great scholars after time of Sahaba ever disagreed that Isa has passed away. then how it was secret? Then how can you claim that it was a secret to the extent that not a single soul knew this? Oh people, Allah has given all of you intellect. Please think, something can either be a secret to the extent that nobody knew that before Mirza Ghulam Qadyani, or it can be in the Quran 30 verses, it can be in the Sahaba's consensus or ijma, and it is reported and agreed upon by all the great scholars. It can't be both. It can't be both. Another example of hole in the narrative. Mirza Ghulam Qadyani is telling us there are 30 verses in the Quran, and it is ijma of the Sahaba. And he said that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has been reported to have said in Sahih al-Bukhari that Isa has died. That Isa has died. First of all, it is a allegation, an accusation, and a lie on Imam al-Bukhari. There's no such hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari. But anyhow, the point is that if that is the case, how it was secret? How was it secret? You can't justify that. Okay, right? Now, look at this one. Mirza Ghulam Qadyani is telling us that when it comes to the coming of Isa ibn Maryam, you know what he said? He said that Isa ibn Maryam himself even might have understood that what is meant by his second coming. And then he ended up saying that even Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that it is possible, please think about this. He said it is possible that even the Prophet might not have understood the entire matter of coming of Isa ibn Maryam. Can you imagine? I mean, you are telling us that there are 30 ayat in the Quran, Isa has passed away. And then you are saying all of that as well. Let me just give you one last example. By the way, there are many holes in the narrative. And this is the reason that I decided to postpone to answer the frequently asked questions. Rather, I decided to first give you the full picture that how this whole narrative of Mirza Ghulam Qadyani is full of holes. Actually, they are only holes and nothing else. I give you one last example. Please listen to this example very carefully. Mirza Ghulam Qadyani, in one place, he is telling us it is consensus of Sahaba that Isa has passed away. Right? Now, please think, people, if somebody goes against consensus of the Ummah in general, but consensus of Sahaba in particular, is he a believer? It's a really serious theological question. Can you be still a Muslim and going against Sahaba's consensus? Okay, you want to have further more confusion on this? Let me give you more confusing statement. He is telling us it was consensus of Sahaba or companions, but at the same time he is telling us that this issue of death of Isa alayhi salam, it had always been a disputed issue on which scholars agree and disagree, i.e., they are both opinions. Hang on a second. If something has both opinion, i.e., Isa has passed away or Isa hasn't passed away, first of all, there's no such thing as both opinions. But let's, for the moment, just analyze his position. So he's telling us that there are both opinions, i.e., one is that Isa has passed away and the other is Isa hasn't passed away. But then he's telling it is ijma of the Sahaba. And he said from the time of Sahaba, then from that point onward, not a single great Imam has ever said Isa is not dead. How to reconcile these two things? Both of them can't be correct. So this was a bit of explanation that despite the fact that everything was ready to give you the 10 frequently asked questions, but I think no. we need to take a step back. We need to address the issue from a different angle. And Alhamdulillah, I have started to, what I'm just telling you right now, I started to compile all of that because I just changed this, my mind at the very end. So it's not complete in terms of a presentation. And it always happens that when we present something, Alhamdulillah, there are many Ahmadis who are researching, then they obviously contact us and they want this information, and we want to have it ready as well for them. But at the same time, when I am presenting these holes in the narrative, I want it to be in front of you on the screen in a logical manner. So this was a bit of explanation that why we change our mind. I'm still open. If any common Ahmadi comes, any Murabbi comes, and he wants to ask us any question regarding the issue of death of Islam, inshallah, we are ready. But I gave you my understanding that this is what I have decided, that to give you the whole the holes in the narrative thing first, then inshallah we'll come